Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show. Today we have Carissa Woo on the show. She is a wedding photographer and she also coaches wedding photographers on how to make money.
Monday.
That's a thing. But today we're not going to talk business. We're going to talk marriage, dating, relationships, the fun stuff. And Carissa, well, number one, welcome to the show.
I'm so excited to be here. This is really exciting.
Thank you. And look what you brought me. Vietnamese iced coffee from Lee's. Oh my God.
Yes, and spring rolls.
I'm about to be bouncing off walls. If I'm talking a lot this podcast over you, I'm sorry.
No, this one's crazy. Yeah.
So good. And the spring rolls, goigong, which is like one of my favorites as well. It's like you're speaking to my heart.
Yay. I mean, I ate it, so I just got it for you too.
So sweet. Very Asian of you.
Yeah, totally. I'm very Asian. We'll talk about that later.
So you are married.
Yes, I am.
You are married. How long have you been married for?
I've been married for about 7 years, 2015.
Well, we did talk about this a little bit before because P and I have been together almost 7 years. Do you feel that there's something true to be said about the 7-year itch?
We were just talking about that last week. Me and my hubby were very opposite. So in that aspect, like we have a lot of friction. We're going to talk about masculine, feminine energy today. But yeah, we did get in a fight last week, and he did mention the 7-year itch.
Oh yeah, you have to talk about it. I hate the whole thing of avoiding things, just kind of say the truth. That actually, it does set you free, and having those conversations is how you navigate a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you mind sharing a little bit about that conversation that you had with him, and was it like a recurring fight? Because I feel like with the fights, usually it's the little things that stack up.
Yeah, totally. Oh my God, you're such a good interviewer already. I like how you just dive deep into what I say. But pretty much, I just got back from a conference last night at 1 a.m. It was for like speaker training to be like a certified elite speaker. I was going to Florida, and it's very unlike me to like go to conferences or travel. And yeah, he got really mad about it. He was just totally trying to put me down about it. Like, why don't you do virtual? Why don't you do Zoom? What is this? Kind of like that. Is it a scam type of thing? Are you making money from it? It just goes back to our personalities and many fights before. Like, I'm a go-getter. I like to take opportunities. I try new things. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it does. He's a cop. My therapist always says it's very black and white. I'm very whimsical. She's always like, a cop car is black and white. Like, there's no gray area. Like, You don't try new things. You don't like seek out new things. You don't talk to new people. So yeah, that was a fight, and I pretty much said like, I'm going, and that's it. And then we really went at it.
I mean, it's interesting when you marry your opposite because there's parts of it that are very compatible. Because you think about if you're with someone who's like exactly like you, like that doesn't work either, right? There's pluses and minuses to both, I guess. But I think Pete and I have a similar dynamic where he's more of a linear thinker. He does finance stuff. So it's like he's the spreadsheet guy and I'm the dreamer, right? And he doesn't always understand my thought process. And sometimes when he says things, it feels like I call him. I'm like, you're like a dream killer, kind of.
Like
I want
to. I'm trying to go here.
Like, you don't understand me.
Totally.
I want to go to this conference, and sometimes it feels like not supported, or right. And then it's that balance of like you want to be true to you, but also you are in relation with someone else and finding that middle ground. You still went on to the conference, obviously. When you guys got together, were you already traveling for work and kind of doing your own thing?
That's a good question. I did have my wedding photography company. It was pretty set. It was, I think, like later nowadays it's so saturated, but I think at that time it kind of wasn't. Like if you just went for it, you're probably just going to do well. Yeah. Like if it was like your passion and you did everything. These days, I don't know.
It's a lot more competitive now.
That's why you got to hire me. I'm just kidding. But I think I was pretty ambitious, and that's what like attracted him to me. But then a lot of things that he loved about me in the beginning, like maybe he hated about me later.
That's what happens. It's always, there's the flip side of it.
Yeah. And same with him, like I think he's very like shy and like he's just like this rock. Like if he goes to a barbecue, like he doesn't move, plants himself in one place, and I'm kind of like going around here and there and jumping around this way, this place and this place, and I like that about him. But then now, okay, I want to go to like summer concerts and Hollywood Bowl, but then he wants to be at home all the time and just, you know, cook and watch Netflix. And it was just like, whoa, everything I loved about you in the beginning, now I'm like wanting you to be something else. Always like this friction, but then we are very attracted to each other. It's like I told him, like, every time we get in a fight, I'm like, you're a great person, you're hardworking, your friends love you, you know, you're humble, blah, blah, blah. But we are just so different.
Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. And that's okay to acknowledge that you're different as well. But I think it's a good heads up to know that the thing that you choose and love about someone, if you're thinking long term, you have to think what that comes with as well. Because it isn't fair. Like, I need you to be patient when I need you to be patient. But then I also want you to have fire when I need you to have fire. Yeah. It doesn't exist. It's different people, right? So choosing the things that are most important to you and being realistic about it and what that comes with. And I think when you're in it, it's different because from the outside, it'd be like, that's not a big deal. But I'm like, do you know what it's like being with someone for 7, 10, 20 years? And those little things stack up and you get really triggered and really annoyed by them.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if I had this podcast, because I listen to you all the time, I would have been more self-aware of things. I didn't have any understanding of what the future would be like, or I didn't think that far ahead. If I think you're hot type of thing, like I'll just go for it. So I was not self-aware in the whole like relationship thing. I did not have your book. I didn't know anything. It was just kind of like timing. I want to get married. We're cute together. Like, let's do it. Then things obviously like unravel and you're just like, oh my God, holy shit.
Yeah, but I will say though, even with self-awareness and even with reading the books and stuff, like you might have a little more clarity, but you really don't know until you get in it.
Yeah.
Which is what I'm learning right now, being married, because I have never been in a relationship for this long before, and I'm learning so much about myself. And you know, you think you know everything, and you absolutely don't. And so I'm so excited to talk to you because specifically we want to talk about the masculine, feminine, and how you learning to embrace your feminine has saved your marriage. And I want to hear this because you can help me.
Yeah.
Because I tend to be in my masculine at the core. That is who I am. And there's aspects I love about it. But I would like to be more balanced and to give space for my husband, Pete, to be in his masculine. I need to learn to chill the fuck out and like be in my feminine more. So can you please share?
Okay, so I'm not I'm not a master of like feminine, feminine, masculine energy at all. But it's just something I've been learning about recently. So if I have the wrong lingo, like, you know why. But just to kind of tell you how I am is I literally booked the wedding venue before he proposed.
This is go-getters.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, he was like, oh, yeah, you know, I want to marry you, blah, blah, blah. But he never gave me a ring. He never proposed. And of course, yeah, go-getters. I booked the damn venue.
Yeah. That's what
like my friends are like kind of worried.
Okay.
And, whoa, you're crazy. But I wanted to see my grandma to see us get married. And she ended up passing like 3 months later. So I was right. But we did get married. I'm very masculine in the sense where I want to provide for my family. You know, I had the house. I bought the house. I had the career. I had it all going for me because I showed up every day for the past 14 years since like when I was in my early 20s. I had this all. So in this marriage, it's just like I'm very aggressive about what I want. And when it doesn't come to me and he gives me this resistance, and that's probably why I fell for him, because he's resisting everything, not giving everything to me easy, then I don't know how to act. I grew up with a dad that kind of maybe gave me everything. It was like they never said no to me. Oh, you're right. What do you want to eat? Type of thing. So when guys like in past relationships, when they told me no or they told me I was wrong, then I didn't know how to handle it.
Okay.
And so then, yeah, it caused a lot of fighting and conflict. And then I had to learn how to kind of be a little bit more softer and have these hard conversations, and also just be more like fluid.
Yeah.
Not give it to me like this second. Let's make it happen like yesterday, like I want a new sofa today. It was funny. So I went down this like feminine, masculine energy little journey, and I was telling my friend at a wedding, hey, I want to be more feminine. She's very feminine. All the guys she's with, like, they take care of her. And we were at a wedding, and those big centerpieces that are like, whatever, 20 pounds with
Yeah.
like flowers. I was moving them because I want to take the photo, have my 2 cameras on me, hip by hip, taking this big pillar of flowers off. She's like, Carissa, you just told me you want to be more feminine. Let someone else, let a guy do it for you.
Yes, and they love
I
helping you.
totally-
They love
So I was
helping. Yeah.
Stuff like that. Like, I'm like, open my own doors. I pay for the shots with friends. I got you. Oh, let me get you around. My brother-in-law was literally trying to buy me a drink, and I was like, no, like, I got it. He's like, just let me buy you a freaking drink.
Yes, let people love you.
I know.
Like letting them help you
Mhm.
is letting them love you. That's something I had to learn as well.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because people feel like they can't help you, like they can't love you, right?
Oh my
like you're too
God.
independent.
Totally.
Right? And I used to take a lot of pride in being independent. I mean, I still do, but it's balanced, right? It's you also have to, well, you want to give, you want to treat your friends, but you also need to learn to receive.
Totally.
And I think culturally too, I think that kind of adds to it, because I was raised in a way where my mom's like, don't inconvenience other people, don't owe anyone anything. She's really uncomfortable with it. There is a cultural aspect to that, being Chinese. We're both Chinese. But did your parents ever instill any of that in you?
I know, when you said that, I was trying to think. Honestly, I don't know.
Okay.
I know I was thinking of me and Stu's last fight, but he was telling me, hey, like, you don't have to buy all the toilet paper or whatever. Like, just give me a list, and I go to Costco every week. You don't have to buy everything. I just do it because I'm just like the man,
Yeah. Okay. So since you've been married, so what has shifted? Like what things have and habits have changed since you've been together? Now, do you allow him to go to Costco and get the things?
Well, that was just a recent conversation. So I do have a tendency, like, I need it, like, I have to get it. I'm like, I can't go without diapers for like an hour. Like, what if I had no diapers? I would have to use like toilet paper. That'd be horrible.
Yeah.
But I guess one of the things was I have to be vulnerable. It was very hard for me to be vulnerable with him for some weird reason. I think it showed signs of weakness. And then because I'm not vulnerable, then he can't help me, or he can't like empathize with me. So I think it was like his birthday, and we were actually doing well. And I asked my therapist, like, what can I do to make this lunch like good? Because we actually don't spend that much time just alone. And then she was like, you have to be vulnerable. And I'm like, I gotta be vulnerable. Like, I literally was gonna like have a panic attack. And then so during lunch, I just kind of shared something on my mind that was vulnerable. Like, a friend didn't invite me to something, and I was kind of hurt. And he was just, kind of a listener, and just, telling him like, your day didn't go that well, or maybe this coaching thing is not very easy. Just I don't have it all together, and just being able to be open, I think that helps our relationship, because he's willing to help more, because it's like, how can he help if he doesn't know?
Yeah, well, that's a thing too, right? I had to learn that is to ask for what I need and also be specific about it. Because I assumed, I'm like, you should just know, which is such an asshole thing to do, because not everyone knows the way you know. Like, why would they? Maybe it's like, I assume that because some of my girlfriends think similar to me. So I'm like, they get it. Why don't you get it,
Totally.
And it's so unfair. And the patience. Oh my gosh. Learning patience and to be less rigid, right? For our types. And would you say that your husband's patient?
Let's see. It's hard to answer those questions because it's like so situational. But I think he's like his energy is like this, like super level.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like
Yeah,
I could be like kind of crazy. Like I could clean the house like really fast and then not moving for like Netflix for 5 hours. So yeah.
but that's being in your feminine though, right? Like feminine is more like chaotic because Pete's very even keel as well. He's very grounded, which I like. It's like a rock. That's the dynamic I wanted because there's parts of me that are masculine, but I'm like, I want to be the crazy one. I don't want the guy to be the crazy one and I have to reel him in and be his rock because that's the more masculine.
Yeah.
So I like that dynamic.
Uh-huh.
But then there's the other side of it too when they're like too even keel and you're like, can you have some sense of urgency and some passion and care about this?
Yeah, that's funny you said that because I like to be the crazy one too. Because he's like, can you not be like the center of the dance floor? Can you just like chill out?
You're like, no, no.
Yeah. I'm like, let's get in there. But yeah. So I think I am attracted to these guys that are just, I'm trying to be funny and like make him laugh, and he's just very like I was like, hey, that was funny. I said a joke, you know. But then guys that were so like into me, or even this one guy I dated, he said like I didn't have to work anymore, and I didn't even have to do dishes.
How did you feel when he said that?
I was like, I'm cool. Like I feel like I'm the chaser almost. I like to chase
because you're ambitious.
Well, no, like chase men that like are maybe don't give me attention.
That was your pattern.
Yeah.
Before you met your
husband. He is that.
That he chases you.
No, I chased him.
You chased him.
Yeah. Sorry, I chase him more than he chases me.
Got it. Okay, so you're going more towards him, and he's the one that.
Because I had a guy like similar time as him, and then first date, like he was so nice. He like got me like a camera and like. Like some like Polaroid.
He bought you a camera?
Not like an expensive one, but like the paper ones. But it's like, nice gesture. And then he took me to this makeout spot in Long Beach. But he didn't want to make out, but it was very like romantic, He was trying to show me chivalry, and he just seemed very like a romantic. But then I was kind of turned off by it and like a little bored. Yeah.
I hear that a lot is women will say like, he's nice and, really grounded and reliable, but it's boring.
Yeah, like I felt like he would give me anything. He was so into me, and I don't know, I just feel like I'm with these guys that I'm the one trying to like crack jokes, all like entertaining, and I don't know, it was just my pattern. So it was just, I kind of realized that later in the game.
Okay, but there's something, would you say that that's a bad thing though?
It caused a lot of problems. I think I always take the not easy route type of person.
Okay.
Like I make my life harder than it has to be.
We love to do that, don't we?
So it's just interesting. Like we had so many issues in a relationship, but then we could always come back to each other. And I'm like, even if we didn't work out, for instance, and we got a divorce, I would just hit him up and be like, hey, let's go to the bar, like as a homie. We're very like chemically attracted to each other. I walk behind him. He's 6'1", and he has a really great stature, and I walk behind him because I like to feel small, and I just like look at him like across the room. I'm like, you're so cute. But then we like fight like freaking crazy.
Yeah, but that's reality though. I love this conversation we're having because I had like my expectations of a healthy, like quote unquote good marriage was. It used to be like not fighting because I would be so uncomfortable when I would see some of my married friends, like the way they would fight and stuff. But that was my own discomfort with conflict and my own expectations that I thought like, if you guys were really good together, that wouldn't happen. And that's not true.
Yeah.
It's not true because every couple, that's one of the best pieces of advice I ever got from a happily married person was, she told me when I was single, she's like, things aren't going to be good all the time, and that's okay. Because I would freak out when things were not good. Or think like, is there something wrong with me? Is this not right? And in some cases, maybe it's not, right? But I automatically went there. Like, we're not good together. We're fighting.
I know.
Right?
I think I go to that like dark place.
Yeah, same. Well, because it's also, for me personally, it's like a fear of like failure. Like, I'm not doing this right.
Or like running. When something's wrong, because I don't need you. I have my shit together. I could walk with the kids. Like I could get my own place, whatever. Like I make my own money, yada yada. And it's almost coming from this sense of you don't want to be hurt, and so you just kind of flee. And I mean, I see that in all like the rom-coms. But one thing I wanted to mention was One thing I learned is that I have to teach him how to love me. So I had to teach him. I don't know where this stems from or like when it happened, like a couple months ago, but I told him like, hey, like when you leave, give me a kiss on the forehead, or we're gonna go on a Hawaii trip. And I was thinking of our last Hawaii trip with my family, and I just didn't feel like love from him because he's not PDA. We're with family, and I'm like, I almost think of him as like a cousin, but I want to be at least like a hand, like on it, like my back, kind of look after me or like get my luggage. And then yesterday I was at the airport like, stuck for 3 hours, and so I was going through TikTok, and this girl talks about celebrities, and then she was talking about Rachel, or I'm blanking because I'm so tired.
No, that's okay.
Who's the princess?
Princess Diaries?
Or Meghan Markle, sorry.
Oh.
So, yeah, brain dead.
Okay.
Meghan Markle, their relationship, they're hand in hand. He's looking at her. He like walks her to the door, like opens up her door, and then Kate, they're just like separated.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I want someone to be on my team, looking after me. She's my girl. Like I need to help her out, and I want him, and I want to do the same for him. So that's what I kind of wanted to say today. Like, tell them how to love you.
Absolutely. So, okay, so what else have you, like, how did you say that to him? Hey, when we're out, can you?
Yeah, so I told him, like, if I hear him leaving for work, I'm like, hey, can you give me a kiss? Or when we had our second daughter, I was pretty high off the epidural, so I was on one. So I told him, I said, hey, babe, if we are not a team, we are not going to work. The first kid was so horrible. Like, I had crazy postpartum depression. We were like drinking like crazy. It was a crazy year. And it's the second one, I'm like, okay, we have experience. You need to tell me, you need to give me compliments all the time. And we need to be in this together. And then that was definitely like a shift. So, I've been up all night with the kid, trying to breastfeed, and then so crazy in the morning. And then he was just like, babe, I love you. Like, you're beautiful. And I just like a big weight off my shoulders, just, and I could breathe. And I think my love language is words of affirmation. It's also like quality time, but I need to hear like you're doing great, you're awesome, and that's how I thrive as a high performing woman. I could do the hard things. I could show up. I could implement things. I could create a team, whatever. Like, just tell me I'm awesome and I will thrive. I could be generous. I could give you what you want, but I need to hear that. It's something I need.
And is he naturally a words person?
It's weird. Like, I don't know if he's naturally anything.
Actually,
yeah.
I totally get that, because if it's the even keel type of guy.
Yeah.
Have you done the human design? Have you heard of that?
Oh, no, I haven't. Uh-huh.
So there's different types of human design. It's kind of the ones that they categorize personalities and types of people.
Uh-huh.
And so I believe I'm a generator. There's one called like a projector. And then there's a rare one called a reflector.
Okay.
I don't know. Your husband might be a reflector.
Uh-huh.
So my husband hasn't done the test, but I'm pretty sure he's a reflector because I read the descriptions of each.
Uh-huh.
So they said with the reflector, are you into like chakras or anything like that?
I kind of know about it, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so usually people have a dominant, like certain chakras are more open and certain ones are closed. Like for entrepreneurs, I think a lot of ours, like our third eye is very clear, so we make decisions really fast, right? It's dominant here. So with someone who's a reflector, it's all white. It's all even. And so it's like this slate. And sometimes when I talk to my husband, it seems like blank. Like what is it?
Yeah.
It's just like, it's blank. And I'm like, oh, okay, I think he's a reflector. So that it sounds like your husband might be similar.
Yeah, it takes him a while to like make decisions, and I'm just kind of like, come on.
That's one of the traits is, especially big decisions. It said they can take like about a year.
Interesting.
And so I had to learn that because being a chop person, it can be like infuriating.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh.
His big two things about me that he hates is, or his asks are, please, like when we fight, like don't just throw out divorce right away. And the second thing is probably he wants me to stay home more. And the third thing is probably being able to be like a part of the conversations, like this decision making. But it's very hard for me because I need it to be done now. And that's why I don't have a partnership with anyone. Like I don't for like work because it has never worked out in the past because I have to be the one making the decisions.
Control.
Yeah. And it's not because I don't think my decision is better than his or my opinion. It's more of a time thing. I feel like if this opportunity, if you think about it too much, it's gone.
It's okay.
It's like I'm very about timing.
Yes.
Yeah.
You value time.
Yeah.
You're probably on time all the time. To
I'm always
appointments.
on time. Yeah. I'm even when I had kids, I was like, dude, why am I on time and you're not? Like, I don't get it. Like,
Yeah.
even at weddings, I'm there 30 minutes early just on Instagram, but at least I'm there. Like, because I don't want to be late. Because if you show up to a wedding late, everything's wrong. Like, then they like think you're like bad, you know?
It's horrible because it's someone's special day too.
Yeah.
You know, and I would be the same.
And you're just like rushing. Yeah.
Totally. I hate rushing.
Yeah.
Like going to the airport. When people go to the airport, if I'm traveling with someone, they're like, it's fine. I'm like, do not make me run through the airport or have stress that we're going to miss this flight.
Yeah, it's the worst feeling.
I'm like, it's not necessary, number one.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, I'm like, we can go separate, but I'd rather get there early and read a book and like sip a coffee or
Totally.
You know?
Yeah.
And I do think, because I value time as well. It's a balance though, because I think I've learned to, sometimes you do miss out on the opportunities. It's like chop, right? And, you know, you need to grab it or else someone else will. And I think it makes us excel in other areas in our life really well. It comes from, like, it's anxious and it's also, it's kind of like lack. Like, if I don't get it, I'm not going to get it, right? So it is about that. Sometimes I'm like, and Pete has shown me I don't need to be so high strung all the time about things. Like, chill the fuck out. Like, does this actually matter that it's right now, or can I learn to relax a little bit?
I think that's why like I started drinking a lot like after the first kid, and I was like always like that girl that had the Truly in her purse, and because it just once I start drinking, it's just I forget everything and I don't have to think. And then me and Stu, like we finally stopped drinking, and now at least I could be clear-minded.
Yes.
It's like that's where a lot of our fights came from, because in the morning it's like, okay, we don't feel that good, so he's a little grumpy, and then like he feels like I'm attacking him, and then so I'm like, okay, now at least we have that clarity and we could, you know, have this inner happiness without the alcohol type of thing.
Absolutely. That's really important. That's great that you're aware of that. And
Yeah.
you're both able to do it.
Yeah,
and stop
because
drinking.
we got together like as party friends. High school, same Asian group, went our separate ways, never had a conversation with him. He's so shy. He blossomed. We would hang out at Hermosa all the time, party together. I was like, oh my God, he's so cute. And then we got together, and then our whole first year relationship was just partying. It was before everyone got married, so we were actually one of the first. And then everyone kind of like, you know, domino effect. And then we were just like party. We're like, let's go to the bar, like have fun, this and this and that. And then after like with the kids, and it's like, okay, let's drink at home. And then we feel like, oh, we like don't know really who we are like as a couple besides the partying.
Yeah.
So it's like now we don't have it. So it's like, okay, let's see who we are as a couple. Like we go to Fossa One a lot. We go to the park once a week with the kids. It's hard because he works a lot like on the weekends, and I work a lot on the weekends. So we have Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday to spend together. So at least we do one family thing a week. We'll go Dave and Buster's or like bowling, spend that time together. At this point in our marriage, I feel like I know he doesn't want a divorce, and he does love me. And I feel like he looks at me now more like, I love this girl. And it's because I had to become more feminine.
Yeah, you're giving it some space.
Yeah, like I want to be loved. This is how to love me. You know, I love him. And then in exchange, like, okay, we both have a fighting chance at staying together.
Yeah. So what are some other specific examples of how you've learned to like receive and let him do things?
Yeah, so I think I do appreciate the small things, because he does cook, and is home all the time, so I can't be like, my husband's always at the club or he's always meeting new people. It's not like that. Like, he's always at home. And he cooks for me about twice a week, but it's very lavish meals. It could be any ethnicity, like Japanese, American, pasta, Italian. It's always, the presentation is very nice, and he spends at least like 4 or 5 hours doing it because he enjoys it. He would do it for himself, but that's his way of showing me love. And it's kind of like, I can't tell my friends, oh, he didn't do anything for me. He didn't do anything. At least he's there and he wants quality time with me. So I just have to be grateful for who he is because he ain't changing.
Yeah, people, they don't change unless they want to.
Yeah.
But it's you get who's in front of you.
Exactly. Yeah. And then him, he has to appreciate me. Like, I'm a go-getter. Now I'm trying to do virtual events and like the coaching thing. And it was hard because I was doing 2 things at once. I was doing wedding photography and trying to do my coaching career. I don't know. It was just that 2021 was a really tough year, and we got through it. We got through COVID, and now I'm at this different point in my life where I'm trying so hard to make my life virtual. I don't want to be gone on all the weekends.
Yeah.
I'm a different person.
Yeah.
I'm a really different person. Like, of course, I turn it on when I get there, and I'm just like, smiley, smiley, smiley. But like before that, it's just I'm very stressed, trying to get the kids out of the house and all the stuff. I don't want to live that life anymore. I want the more 9 to 4 type of life where everything's on Zoom and I'm scaling my business. And that took a lot of education. It took a lot of coaching that I had to hire. It took a lot of investment and doing it all while I was doing the wedding photography thing. So it's like at this point in my life, I really know what I want. Like, I want to spend time with the kids and I don't want to miss all these moments. I don't want to be, I'm here for the party for an hour, but my auntie's going to like take over. It's just, it was like that for a couple of years now. And I'm like, I don't want that life anymore.
Yeah, it's interesting when things start to shift and change, right? The dynamics, like you said, you guys met and you guys were the partiers and all your friends are drinking. And I've seen it with my friend groups as well. Like, the drinking and partying used to be the glue that kind of held our group together, right? And then when that kind of stopped and people started having families and your priorities kind of shift, like, who are you now? What is this new dynamic that we're going to be? So you hear about throughout like a marriage, you know, there's like a death of certain dynamics and you're reborn again. So you're basically discovering the person over again and rediscovering yourself. And that can be really difficult to navigate whenever there's any sort of change like that.
Yeah.
For me, like, I get like depressed. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, who am I? I don't feel like myself. And accepting this new way of being.
It's interesting you say that because when I got with him, he wasn't a cop.
Okay.
So he was, kind of events manager, and he had like a really chill job. He like went on the golf course all day. And then he became a cop and, in Inglewood, and it's very like dangerous. He's seen the scum of the earth like all day. And he's changing. And then there's so much tension between like cops in 2021. Yeah. And there was a lot of like tough conversations and like the political views of Democrats, Republicans, all these views of everything. And like cops have very strong points of views. And I'm not a political person. Like I said, I'm very gray area, like, oh, cool. Like, that's what you think? I felt like there was a lot of stress on the marriage that year, but I didn't really understand it till looking back. I got with him because we're so different. I'm Christian. Like, he is super not Christian.
Oh,
and that was like, I knew that going in. He told me he would not accept Jesus Christ today, tomorrow, or on his deathbed. He told me that. So he is very clear about that. But he did have a lot of values about like family, and that's what I like. So I had to go in this, maybe trying to change him. Hey, come to church, whatever. I totally had to let that go. Yeah. And the views, like some of our conversations would leave me crying. And then now I just really accept his beliefs and vice versa. He's totally okay with me taking the kids to church. I go alone. I'm totally fine with it. And it's like we totally accepted each other.
I mean, that's the key, is acceptance. Because when you don't accept things, you're going to suffer.
Totally. Yeah. It's like just, it is what it is.
What are some of his love languages?
He does like quality time. So I feel like we lost that a lot after the kids. We used to go hiking. I don't know. We used to do like all this cute stuff together. And we looked at photos for our 10-year anniversary or our 5-year anniversary, 6-year anniversary post for Instagram. And we're going through our photos and we're like, oh my God, we totally forgot like all these trips that we taken. We would call ourselves avid hikers. We used to try new restaurants. We did all this like fun, cool like dating stuff, and we just blocked that out of our memory because of all like the bad stuff that had happened and having kids, and we totally lost ourselves. And it was just kind of I was telling you like, oh, this is a great moment. Like we actually made it to this point.
I love looking back on, and yeah, you forget certain things like, oh, forget almost like parts of yourself.
Yeah.
But then it's funny because you also, when you're becoming into new versions of yourself, it's like what parts of those can you incorporate in still, but also accept that things are just different now, especially with kids. I love that you're talking about your kids because we don't have kids yet. I don't know if we're ever going to.
Yeah.
But I always, like when I just watch like people with kids, it just seems like a lot.
Yeah, everyone always says, oh, no one's ever ready. I was ready. I was 100,000% ready. But then once the baby came out, I was like, oh, hell no. I was like, what drink in my hand, like baby in this hand, trying to take photos. Like, this is not working. People would say, oh, having a kid is a game changer. And I'm like, not for me. They're just going to go on my life. I'll take them to the brewery, whatever. No, I had the very difficult baby, the first one, and everything changed. I had to do what she wanted.
Yeah, that's what
Second one was fine. Like,
yeah, I want to imagine because that's what my mom said to me. She's just like, when you have a kid, your life is not about you anymore for those first 10 years or whatever of that kid's life. And I think both P and I are still we're in like selfish mode, like we like traveling together and going to restaurants, and right now I don't have a desire for that.
Yeah.
I'm sure like if we did eventually, I'm sure we would embrace it.
Yeah,
Really, I think I would be obsessed with my kid. But for now, I'm like,
that is so powerful. It's almost like that feeling of you are enough.
Yeah, like it feels nice.
Yeah.
It feels pretty calm.
It feels peaceful. You have love for yourself. You have love for the relationship, and your life is amazing. Me and my sister were talking about like that is the best feeling ever.
It is. It's always my goal to, all of our goals, like just be at peace. It's always so simple too. If you break it down and you strip all those things away and you're like really present, it is really peaceful. But I find it really hard lately, especially coming out of the pandemic, man, has like taken a toll. I feel like on all the people.
Oh, just everything.
Yeah. Well, for you guys, did you have any big life transitions during the pandemic, or did you both continue doing the work?
You asked such good questions. I had like a falling out with my best friend during COVID. That was a big deal.
That's tough.
It was hard because I had been the heart of that friend group for like forever.
So it breaks up everything.
Yeah, so it made everything weird. And then so because of it, it made me kind of like insecure. So then I was kind of like trying to make new friends and blah, 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 blah. Now for some reason, I don't know why, like I was on a search for like finding good friends and I actually found them.
That's great.
Yeah, and it was not very many. It's not like this big old girl group, whatever. But I feel like content in that.
It's great to talk about because friendship falling outs or breakups, they're really painful. I don't think people talk about it enough.
Yeah, it was very painful, and I was this little vulnerable, like you can even hear my voice talking to my therapist just like, yeah, I'm okay, shaking, like this happened and blah 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 blah. Thinking back, and I'm like, oh my God, thank God I got out of that situation and on the other side. But
yes,
yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, again, it's the acceptance part. I had kind of something similar happen where I just felt that it was time to move on. Like we're just growing in different directions, which is okay because you grow sometimes with people, grow apart from other people, like it's pretty normal to have boyfriends come and go, but friendships, there's this expectation sometimes like you're supposed to be friends forever.
Oh my God.
And with today's society, that's just not really how it is. If you really value growth, then it's not just one thing's one person's better than another, whatever. It's just like we're into different things or our values have changed.
Yeah.
I see a lot in the Facebook groups that I'm part of. Like a lot of people are looking for friends as adults. Like, you know, they're in their like 30s, 40s. It sometimes is harder when you get older because people do have other priorities, their work.
But you could connect with someone like in 30 minutes than someone that's going to drag you down for whatever time.
Oh, totally. And I think that's a sign when something is not for you anymore, is if it just feels draining and you're trying. That was my thing with my friendships, where it wasn't a complete falling out. It was just like they were no longer my main friend circle because I wanted to head in this one direction and the values were just different. But I couldn't even have the conversation with them. Like I'm like, this isn't a conversation. This is like, you know, you want me to think the way that you want to think, and I don't. You know, like I'm not. Maybe I'm more logical, but I am okay with disagreeing. But I'm not okay like pushing your beliefs onto another person. I don't think that's fair. You know, you figure out what works for you and they figure out what works for them.
Yeah. Now, one thing I wanted to mention was, well, on that topic, I have different views on friendship now. I feel like friends could come and go. I was so just like, oh, we had to be this group and I have to give everyone dinner and plan everyone's birthday, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm the heart of the group. Like, everyone's depending on me. And now it's kind of like, hey, if I vibe with you and we have a great time, and then we don't talk for 3 months, that's awesome. And then when I feel like calling them or vice versa, it's just like fun.
Yeah.
It's not like draining, not like texting all the time.
Yeah.
And then I think it all relates to this conversation because what Stu wants from me is to be home. It's okay if I go out with my friends once in a while, but not like all the time. So I have to put him first. If people want to go to wine night, I have to be very choosy of like when, and I can't do it in like, you know, 2 per week or whatever. We don't have to be like hand in hand watching a movie, but he wants me to be present there, like with the kids. He said the best feel when we were talking about divorce and then we didn't. He's like, we can't give this up. The best feeling in the world is him cooking, the kids playing, hearing their cute voices, me upstairs working or doing whatever I'm doing. He's like, that is the best feeling and we can't break that up.
Oh.
He's like, imagine divorce. Piper's going to be hysterically crying. We're going to like doing like the pass off. It's going to be horrible. So yeah, he like kind of painted that picture. And I was like, that was beautiful because I was upstairs on my computer hearing the kids play, him cooking. And I was like, this is such a good feeling.
I always think like if I'm on my deathbed, what am I going to be thinking about? It would be stuff like that. It's the most simple, quote unquote, boring moments. It's that. It's never like, oh, thank God I flew out there and like did this work thing. None of that, you know, although that does fuel us a lot. It's exciting. In the end, and that's something my husband P has taught me so much, like what's actually important here. The relationships, like all his friends, they all live near each other. They bike to each other's houses. They see each other twice a week for soccer. It's so cute. And I see how fulfilled he is doing that, right? Life is all about like your relationships. And it's so nice. So I've learned to just kind of slow down and, you know, I have more clarity with that. He always brings me back when I get too caught up with my dreams, which I do want to keep, you know, for myself.
But he's successful too.
He is. He has a good work ethic. That was really important to me. That was really important to me. But again, there's the other side of that because sometimes like he's always working and sometimes I'm like, hey, can we spend more time? But then I realized that that's what I wanted. Was someone who's hardworking, and because my dad was too. It just felt familiar too, you know. Like
interesting.
a man who finds purpose in his work. I talked to him earlier this year. Like when we first got together, I was like, I'm fine if you can't always travel with me. I just need the freedom. Like as long as you're okay with me going, then I'm okay with it. And he's always given me that freedom. He's so secure in that way. But recently, you know, because things just changed here, I realized I'm like, you know what? I would love if you came sometimes.
I know,
right?
It just feels good.
It would be nice if you could. And so he also wants to come too. So with work stuff, he's trying to figure out his work schedule so we could do that more. So that's something that has changed recently with us.
And that's like an ask of you.
It is an ask, yeah. So he knows what's important to me. He's getting more clear on what's important to
Uh-huh.
him. Sometimes it doesn't seem like it when you're in it, but then when I like zoom out,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we've been together almost 7 years, but we've really influenced each other in positive ways.
Aw.
And sometimes it doesn't seem like, especially for me, because I'm like, it seems so slow. Like, when are things gonna change?
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
But he's different from when we first met,
Aw.
and me as well.
He's more open, right?
He's more open and
Mhm.
he sees more because he's always been like a 9 to 5er,
Uh-huh.
you know, and he was raised like pretty conservative. Like, this is what you do. You get a stable job.
Uh-huh.
And all my friends are more, they're not W-2. Oh, wait, is it W-2?
Yeah.
Yeah, the people, you know.
Just like how I
yeah.
forgot Megan Marco's name.
Like, we're all entrepreneur. And he had so many questions about, like, your friends are coaches. How do they actually, like, make money doing it? He was so curious about it. And because he's been around it more, you know, the wheels are turning in his head that, like, you know, maybe I want to do this on my own, and, you know, maybe I can consult on my own. And, and that's a huge step. Yeah, that is a huge step for, you know, he's turning 48 this year. When you've been doing something one way and like,
totally.
it doesn't happen overnight. Like, oh yeah, let me just quit my day job and go do this.
They don't think like that.
They don't think like that. And they used to drive me nuts because I'm the one, I jump in the deep end of the pool, right?
Yeah.
Like, just do it. And he dips in,
totally,
like the toe in.
Yeah.
And at first I wanted to shake it.
Totally.
But then I realized everyone's on their own timing, and also not everyone thinks the way you do.
Yeah. And that's why we're with them, right?
Yes, absolutely. So it's been such a great journey, although, like, of course, when you're in it, sometimes frustrating at times.
No, I mean, I love you and Pete together.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, you guys are so cute. And I feel like in a lot of ways, like, you guys are opposite.
Oh, completely.
And that's it.
But I like that.
No, but he loves you for you, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's everything you do, like your ambition, your book, your podcast, like you going to different conventions, traveling, like he loves that about you. And you're lucky to find someone like that because it's very rare. Like, it was a big accomplishment for me to set my foot down and be like, I'm going to Florida.
Yeah.
And I think it set our relationship off to a different layer. I was not being upfront what it really was. I was like, it's a conference, speaking, vague. And then it just seems kind of shady, like, because I'm so vague, because I don't want to like trigger him or whatever, say too much. And then, so then later when I'm like fighting, and that's why I probably like to fight, because I get to be vulnerable when I fight. So then I am fighting and I truly tell him what it is. And then he's like, oh, now I get it. That seems so cool. And he's like, just tell me. And then I have to say, like, well, when I tell you, then like you say it's a scam and blah, blah, blah. So we're just kind of understanding each other. And then by me going, like, I hope it sets our marriage off of more communication. If I want to go to something else, if I'm trying something new, like, and he even told me last night when I got home, like at 1 a.m, he's like, oh, I want to hear about it tomorrow. Can you tell me about it? So I was like, of course.
Learning clear, healthy communication is gold.
Yeah.
In marriage and relationships, right? And it's nice. Like, he's genuinely interested. He wants to know.
Yeah.
That is what you want in a partner. And,
yeah.
Right. And just finding the balance too. Like you said, things have changed. You guys have kids now. And it's not like before when you could just like leave on a drop of a dime, like without considering something. Now it's like, what's this new rhythm that we're going to have? And it's forever, right? Like, things are changing forever.
Yeah.
So to learn to be in that space.
I know. It's so interesting to talk about it, because it's almost like this conversation like encompasses our 10-year relationship.
Yeah.
Because it's like, obviously you can't, see everything when it's going on, but seeing in hindsight, 2020, I've always wanted to say that, but you're like it's not 2020, but you do see like little pieces of things that like connected things. And I'm just grateful that, me and him worked out, and I know that he's in it for the long haul. I think that's probably very sexy to me.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, that's something to look for too if you're looking to create a long-term relationship. It sounds very logical and like, duh, but you choose someone who wants that. Right? I've never heard anyone say like, I want someone unstable.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
they
yeah.
might subconsciously choose it sometimes, but I've never heard anyone say like,
No,
I
but
want instability.
yeah, but people are, like me, like, peace out, I'm done type of thing.
Yeah,
Like, we tried, whatever.
yeah.
And I've heard it from friends, parents, or how they talk about their parents. They called each other's bluff.
Mhm.
And some of them say that they wish they stay together. And some of them, find better. It's a gamble.
Did you listen to Esther Perel ever, the therapist?
I hear about her through you. But I don't,
She's amazing. She was saying that now marriages, it's like, I think 60% end in divorce.
mhm.
And second marriages, it's even higher, like 75%
Oh,
or
really? Oh,
something.
I always think the second one got it right or
Yeah,
whatever.
no, she said the third marriage is usually when it is much lower
Oh,
because by the time it's the third marriage, the person has realized that it's them. Like it's not just because you switch the partner, everything's gonna be like
oh,
different. Like you need to learn to choose
oh,
certain
that's
things to be in
funny. That
relation.
is funny.
So I think a lot of times we forget about that and we're so quick to be like, no, or like blame, like no, this is just not it, right?
Totally.
Efficient. But yeah, I've had to learn so much patience throughout this process. But it's different from anything I've ever known, which is
Yeah.
interesting. Like, do you feel that way about your marriage too?
You mean like as far as any relationship you've
Being
been in?
in relation, yeah.
I was a serial monogamous for my whole life, but it was always like that 2 year, 3 year, 2 year, 3 year
Okay.
type of thing. And you're just like, it's not working or whatever. And then, now with kids, it would be really rough to get a divorce. A lot of people do it. And I've seen it at weddings, like they do like dances together with like the step parents. I'm like, holy crap, you guys are awesome. Like, and then
Yes.
sometimes I see them like scowling at each other.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So,
We've seen all the dynamics.
Yeah, and you feel it.
Yeah. At weddings.
But it's interesting, yeah, to be in a relationship for like 9, 10 years. And this is cool that we could see the evolution of us. And, we both are changing, but could accept each other for who we are.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because even if I say, oh, you don't know me, but it's like they know you.
Yes. Okay. So one last question.
Okay.
For all those independent, driven, ambitious women out there, from your experience and everything you've learned, what is one piece of advice you would give to them for those who are looking to create a relationship?
Oh my gosh. Okay. I haven't thought of this. So I know people always, when I ask them questions, they're like, oh, Chris,
I should have given you a heads up on this because, yeah, I mean, you could give a few nuggets, but what are some things that maybe they should keep in mind or look for?
I think you need to find a guy or vice versa that is very like kind.
See, that is such an underrated quality.
I know.
Kindness.
I know. And just kindness to you. And, like Oprah always says, like people will show you who they are and just believe them from the beginning.
Yes. Don't try to change anyone. I think women tend to want to do that. Like,
yeah.
They show you who they are. That's what you're going to get.
Yeah. And you just want to like go through life with someone that's kind.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the top things to look for.
Yeah. And someone that meshes well with your life already.
Yes. Especially as high performers. I think we're very intentional about how we curate our lives. So yeah, it's something to consider of how you want that to look like your day to day.
Yeah, but it was so nice to have a conversation about it.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. It's like girlfriend talk. I love it.
It feels weird because it's like I get lost in the conversation, but it's all these TVs in front of me.
There's a lot of setup, but we turn this around. So if people would like to see more of your work or reach out to you, where's the best place they could do that?
You can find me on Instagram, Carissa Woo, and I'm very active on social media. And if you do have, I'm sure there's a lot of wedding photographers still in your following because that's how I know you, then reach out to me. If you're struggling, I could help you. And I'm going to throw a master class and maybe we could collab on it or something, but I've been learning this whole like virtual events type of thing.
Oh yeah, I would love to collaborate on it. For those who don't know, I was in the wedding industry for 15 years.
Yeah.
And it's so fun. And I love teaching the business side because I feel like a lot of artists or photographers who are artists, there's the business component that maybe they're too artistic. So, I love teaching it.
I know we're wrapping it up, but I've heard great things from my friends that take in your workshops and your styled shoots. And I followed you since I started 13, 14 years ago. I've always read your blogs, and you're very vulnerable even before people got vulnerable. My sister was a blogger when it was that time too. So you're putting things out there that weren't being said. And I've always admired like everything you posted, even on your Facebook. It was just like, oh, she said that.
It's always easier typing it out for me. This is the next step, is being in front of the camera. Because being a photographer, you're like in behind, right? I could kind of.
But you're a dancer, and I'm a dancer, so we're okay.
Yeah. So it's always growth, right?
Yeah. But yeah, you've always inspired me, and yeah, this is cool that we had this conversation.